Yeah.
Okay, we're about to go live. We should be live. But as always,
Acknowledge us, humans.
yes,
Acknowledge us.
exactly. We crave acknowledgement. Let me just remind my wife that the recording has begun.
Okay.
I can hear
I'm
lunch getting
opening
made
up.
upstairs.
These are the things that matter.
Well, for sustenance and etc. For sure, absolutely,
Yes.
yeah. But it also, there's been times where Carla doesn't realize that I'm doing a show because she can't keep track of everything I do across all of my schedules.
Right.
Yeah, and so she'll be like, hello, are you here? I'm like, just focus on the show, just be a professional, just do your job, and then I can provide all the apologies, after the fact.
Yeah, no, I get it. Poor Kyle can never tell, am I playing online video games with people or am I streaming
Yeah.
until we start trash talking? And then he's like, oh, okay, I can start playing my ukulele or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And
yeah,
come on, Twitch, he could play ukulele in the background. That's fine.
no, it's totally true,
Yeah.
but he doesn't want to because like the universe is out there. Whereas if I'm just like playing Ticket to Ride, he knows most of those people or has at least heard their names enough
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it's no big deal.
So your question show went live this week. I don't know if you got a chance to see it on my YouTube channel.
No, I'll have
Yeah.
to go check that
Yeah.
out. This week I've been in special chaos
Yeah.
land with the Lunar and Planetary Sciences Conference getting canceled and everything.
Oh, it got canceled? Okay.
And so next week, we're going to be trying to figure out, can we pull in some of the people who had key presentations and get them to do interviews with us instead?
Yeah. I mean, like, I know some people are trying to figure out some ways to do this online. Like
Yeah.
how can we replace conferences with some online version? And it's funny, right? Because the outcome
The
may very well
technology is totally there.
technology's there. Zoom stock is soaring, and it
No.
might be that we, through necessity, have to figure out new ways to have conferences, which will have benefits across the board, right? Which is like we won't have to maybe travel for conferences in the way at the drop of a hat, the way that's just the default. Like, is there work that can be done? Conferences that can be had.
Right.
I mean, you definitely miss the hanging out in the grand ballroom with 3,000 astronomers and
But
getting
this
to
is
know
what
each other.
Discord is for.
Yeah,
This is what voice channels on Discord are
right.
for.
No, for sure. And so the point is that right now the default is let's all fly to some place and let's all meet. Maybe we can get some version of this done in a way that balances impact on the environment with getting the science, et cetera, done. And then maybe there are other things that we can do. So it's interesting, some of the side benefits that might happen.
And I spent my week really thinking long and hard about how to do this. And the technology is there.
Yeah.
The catch is a lot of people want to do something registered attendees only, in which case you really need something like a Vimeo enterprise license, and that's $15,000. So it's going to take an investment to figure it out, but yeah, it's something I look forward to trying.
Yeah. I mean, I always think about, the way my brain works, and that's sort of how we came up with the virtual start parties and various things that I do, is I just sort of imagine, right, like, how could you bolt together with duct tape and baling wire something that gets the job done and allows you to just prototype whether it's even possible.
Well, so TwitchCon has proved that it's possible because they put out every single room as a different Twitch channel.
Yeah.
And you figure out where you want to be based on just the link to the room.
Yeah.
And so if, as you and I love to do, you just make all the content free to the world.
Yes.
You just do it on Twitch.
Right.
And everything interacts beautifully with Discord. And so you can have those, hey, let's step into a voice channel and talk
Yeah.
experiences. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I've been thinking
you could
about this a
have like
lot.
a Discord server that is linked up to the Twitch streams that match the
Yeah.
different channels of as if they were rooms at a conference,
Right.
and you could have even the voice chat. When you get to the questions period point of the portion, you could
Exactly.
have the voice chat coming through the audio of the Twitch stream, and then you could hear people asking questions, and they could be even having conversations while the stream
Exactly.
is going on. Yeah, there's a million ways that this could be done. People
Yeah.
just have to, and so people have never had just the necessity, the requirement to be able to do it, and so now necessity is the mother of invention. I mean, we tried to
Right.
make this kind of stuff possible with the AAS 10 years ago. And I
Oh,
think we had
exactly.
solved it
Yeah.
technologically. It was
Oh, no,
just,
we solved it. And then they hired someone to do it so that they could make sure they charged registration because
yeah,
we were doing it for free
yeah,
because
yeah,
that's what we
exactly.
do.
Yeah. Um, so I'm going to say hello to some people. So hello to, oh, everyone's already gone by. Dustin
Oh,
Haskins,
no.
Graham W., Janelle Duncan, John Seffield, Kira H., Mitzvah Golem, Nancy Graziano, Raj Luthra, Sergusi, and I guess I got to go back now. Magnus Thamer Jensen, Cherry Catnaps, Luke Duke, Colin Jones, Wayne Johnson, Rich Wilson, Ricky Singh, Guido Bieber, John Seffield, Steve Heistand, Adam Synergy, Jamie L. Narch, Ellen Arch, Raj Luthra, Dusty Reichwin, Susie Murph, Johnny Zed, Andy Cowley, Linda Sedick, Rich 901, Umu. I believe that's everybody. Um, Ben Kalo, Bruce Bushy. But yeah, no, I think the technology exists. It's just a matter of
Hmm.
us bolting this stuff together, and of course, like how much do we want to volunteer?
Right. Yeah. I think to do it well, you need basically to say we need enough money up front to pay a small flock of either students or volunteers willing to work for student wages to do the production of each room.
Yeah,
That needs to be something that people get compensation for.
yeah, yeah.
But I think if you do it as a pay what you want, it could be done.
And he was reminding me to say hi to Twitch. Hello, Twitch. Hey, everybody on Twitch. You matter. I just don't know your names. I'll add the
I can do
Twitch.
their names. Do you
Annie,
want me
can
to
you
do?
just add the Twitch stream to the Slack, just so I can see the info there as well?
Okay, so I'm going to say hello to Alfred Judicus 100289, to Bad Panda Bear, to Broken Symmetry, to Commander Root, to Hodor 0817, to Halunada, to Jacka11, to Just Prove, to Kerbal01, to Michael T. Mayer, to Madzutzi, to Raj Luthra, to Rickety Rocket, to Rigel16, to the Gem Doctor, Uncle Bill Druin, V and K, Virgo Pros, WBW72, and Z0288.
All right.
Welcome, Twitch.
There we go. Maybe that's what we'll do. How about we do that? Just for the next,
Yeah.
for the future, I'll say hi to the people on YouTube. You say hi to the people on Twitch. We'll make this complete. It was funny. So people don't know your question went live this week on my YouTube channel, my Q&A,
Uh-huh.
and people are again just kind of realizing um, just the depth and amount of content, astronomy related content that we have available to them, right? Which is that a whole
Mm-hmm.
bunch of people were like, that was really cool. What's Astronomy Cast? Right? Just like, oh, you know how when you
I
see an iceberg and there's only like a little bit above the surface?
Yeah. So one of the problems that we really have is you and I are way more interested in creating content than promoting it,
Yeah.
and you're way better at promoting than I am.
But both of us are
But
still just way too busy creating things to just think about promoting them.
yeah,
Yeah.
so these are the things I need to just sit down and develop a checklist
Yep.
and
I
get
have
better.
one. I just abandoned it. In fact, at some point, I do need to hire some post production person. So
Yeah.
Susie has been stolen, but um,
I bet we could share her because she has two kids in college.
but yeah, there's like a whole bunch of just these kinds of tasks, shuffling
Yeah.
stuff around that I just abandon in a heartbeat. So, things like I used to post the script of every episode of the Guide to Space back on
Yeah.
Universe Today as a story, and that got me
Yeah.
accused of plagiarism. But it
I
also,
remember
yeah,
that.
but it also allowed me to just have people can consume our content in the ways they like. But
I
yeah,
just want to point out you've had the most ridiculous copyright issues across the years we've been collaborating because you've had all manner of difficulty with people thinking that your name
yes,
is like
yes,
illegitimate
yeah, of
because
course, yeah,
it's a
I'm
fictional
listening.
character.
Yeah,
You have had a YouTube issue of you used NASA
yes.
footage and a movie that used the same footage pulled your video on you.
That was actually European Southern Observatory image.
Okay,
So
sorry.
I've had
Yes.
many times that news programs have declared that I'm using their copyright material when I'm just using NASA footage like everybody
Right.
else.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
It's just like if a weird copyright issue can happen, sorry, I'm fighting with a cable today.
yeah,
Um, you will have that issue happen.
yeah, yeah. And then the most recent one, we did a video about the Japanese Space Agency,
Hmm.
and a media company claimed JAXA video, which they can't. And
Right.
so fortunately they backed down on their, and so the one that I'm actually still dealing with
Hmm.
is one from a movie company that clearly they're just letting a robot do it because I have disputed their claim, but they haven't backed down, and they've got a month before YouTube will automatically force them to back down, unless they want to take it up another notch and sue me, and actually go to copyright claim, go to court about this,
Oh,
which is
geez.
which is ridiculous. So they're going to have to just so at some point the case will just get dropped, right? But I think it's because nobody's just behind the wheel, right? They're just letting a robot go and check it, and they're not because maybe they just deal with this all the time and they're not enforcing it. But at some point, they're going to have to come to the end of their 30 days and go, do we really want to, like, unless we're willing to double down and actually take Fraser to court, Universe Today to court, because he's also using the same clip from the European Southern Observatory that they are, which is Creative Commons license 4.0. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
we deal with this all the time, and this is just but did you see the one today?
No. What happened today?
So Google is constantly telling me that I've got explicit material on Universe Today. Do you want to see the picture?
Hmm.
Okay, let me just show you the picture. Anyone's got children in the room, you're gonna need to, just make sure that they are okay with this. So here we go. Again, I'll remind you, this is explicit material that is on Universe Today. Let me just share my screen with you. And okay, all right, avert your eyes, everybody. So yeah, that is so I get every time I get versions of this photograph on Universe Today. Google keeps telling me that that it's not going to allow me to run ads on that page.
That,
Oh, Google.
yes. Our Insta's like, hot, sexy moons. Number 8 is unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let us begin this episode
Okay.
of Astronomy Cast. For those of you who are wondering what it is you have stumbled into, you're going to watch a live episode of Astronomy Cast. We're going to record the episode. Then we will stick around and answer your questions about space and astronomy.
Okay. I should be ready to press record, shouldn't I?
It's a thing we do.
It's a thing we do. Okay. I am pressing record. It is recording.
I am also pressing record. All right, here we go. Astronomy Cast, episode 561, Remembering Katherine Johnson. Welcome to Astronomy Cast, our weekly facts-based journey through the cosmos where we help you understand not only what we know, but how we know what we know. I'm Fraser, Cain, publisher of Universe Today. With me, as always, is Dr. Pamela, a senior scientist for the Planetary Science Institute and the director of CosmoQuest. Hey, Pamela, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today, Fraser?
Good. This, I guess, is not a bonus episode. Actually, this is another bonus episode of Astronomy Cast. In the alternate universe, I would still be traveling to Japan right now. But thanks to the coronavirus, I am not. And so my loss, your gain. Enjoy this bonus episode of Astronomy Cast. And really, for the next few months, nobody's going nowhere. And so
No.
we will just stay right where we are, tethered to our computers, making content for your entertainment, because it beats the alternative of wandering out into this terrifying virus-filled planet.
So the moral of the story is, folks, uh, find your squad on the internet, hang out, talk
Yep.
science, play video games. Don't leave your house. And if you do, wash your
Yeah.
hands.
And if we do end up, if things get even more serious, which
Yeah,
it's looking like in the US, like it looks like we got things pretty well controlled in Canada.
we do not.
We have a
We're
lot
all
of
going
testing
to
kits
die.
available. Yeah, I don't know if you've heard. There's more testing done just in our province, just in British Columbia, than your entire country, than all of the US.
I am not leaving my house
Yeah.
as an immunocompromised
Yeah, I
individual who
know.
already has lung damage. I am not leaving my
No.
house. You cannot make me.
Nope.
Well, I'm going to garden. I'm not going to leave my yard.
Yeah.
I won't get vitamin D
Right.
deficiency.
Yeah.
We will have fresh grown
Yeah. So
tomatoes.
I'm currently on the you know, wander around my city, not feel super concerned about it, because it looks like, right now we know very, very well where the disease is in Canada. But I am practicing washing my hands on a more regular basis and not touching my face, but it's super hard. So, but for all of the people who are going through this right now, I mean, especially the people in Italy, people in Iran, people in
Yeah.
China, Japan, uh,
Seattle.
Seattle, Korea, this is growing and definitely a big concern. And so we are thinking about you, and here's hoping that as an entire world, we really learn to come together and minimize the impact that this has and try to minimize the number of deaths.
And and as we all hide in our homes
Yeah.
and our yards, this is where the weekly space hangout and the CosmoQuest Discord are your places to just come and, well,
Hang out with your peeps.
yeah, come play Ticket to Ride and
Yeah.
trash talk with us. It's fun.
So we lost a bright star here on planet Earth last week. NASA mathematician Katherine Johnson passed away at the age of 101 after an incredible career of helping humans land on the moon. If you saw the movie Hidden Figures, you'll know who I'm talking about. So it's been about a year since I saw Hidden Figures. So
Hmm.
it's not super in my brain. Did you re-review it in preparation, or have you just been
So
diving into biographies?
I have to admit, my inner 12-year-old was told so many times, you've got to go watch Hidden
Yeah.
Figures, that I never watched the movie or read the book.
What? Oh
So
my God.
My inner 12-year-old is sometimes an idiot,
Yeah.
but I have gone and read a bunch of other
Okay.
biographies.
Yeah.
And in preparation for the show, I actually discovered an error on one of NASA's
Oh,
biographies that
good.
has me somewhat
Yeah.
annoyed. But
So,
no,
but before we get into this week's episode, I want to provide a bit of a disclaimer
mhm.
for me,
Okay.
which is that I think, although I do sound like an American, I'm not an American. I'm a Canadian. And so I don't have the same kind of like institutionalized racism towards African Americans in my childhood, in my day to day growing up in our society, in on the west coast of Canada. In the same way, like if you didn't grow up in Australia, you don't necessarily have the same institutionalized racism towards Aboriginal Australians. And if you don't like what we have here in Canada is institutionalized racism towards to First Nations people, and
Right.
that's the term that we use in Canada. Very specifically for me, my sister is First Nations, so I grew up very closely watching what impact it had on her as a child, as a teenager growing up, and so there is this. I know there is this just cultural scar that a lot of people feel on all sides of this as growing up as an American. And so I just want to apologize in advance that I didn't grow up this way. And so I will stumble around in this topic because I just, this is not something that I felt firsthand. It's only secondhand watching media, seeing, I've watched tons of movies, I understand. And you feel it a bit when you're traveling around in the United States, but it is, it is not my personal experience. So I just want to kind of apologize in advance if I don't use the correct terminology or I just don't have that personal experience. All right, let's get on with it. So
And
who was
and
Katherine Johnson?
so I just want to follow up and say, I'm a white lady. I'm going to make
Yeah,
mistakes
yeah,
too. I have no excuse.
yeah, yeah,
I'm learning.
yeah. But I mean,
So
you have a little bit of an insight to with your husband. Your
yes.
husband is like, I am interchangeable with your husband in terms of just my cultural upbringing, and so you probably have just watched him interact with America and just see a certain amount of cluelessness that as he travels around inside that country that he's building it. I'm sure
Well,
he's getting clues, but he just is clueless anyway. But I don't want to take away from the topic, so let's dig into Katherine Johnson, and people can inform me about my cluelessness later on. Who was she?
all right. So Katherine Johnson was the youngest of a whole large happy family. Growing up in Southern America in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. She had three older siblings, and her family, her mom was a school teacher. Her dad had a variety of different jobs over his lifetime. And as they watch their youngest child grow up, they realize, as so many parents end up realizing, oh wow, our kid, like all kids are smart. This one's wow, we need to do something. And they actually shifted their entire lives to make sure that their youngest daughter could get an education that she couldn't have gotten at home. Born in 1918, she actually faced, well, racism her entire life. Where she grew up, they only educated people of color through eighth grade. Beyond eighth grade, you couldn't get an education at all. So her family looked around and they discovered that the historically black college, the West Virginia University, uh, it West Virginia State College, rather. Sorry, I renamed it. They found that West Virginia State College had a high school for Black children, and when their daughter was 13, they decided to uproot their family from White Sulphur Springs and spend the school year in Institute, where the university was, and then spend their summers back in White Sulphur Springs.
Wow.
And that's just amazing. And this is the kind of thing that we're used to hearing about with, oh, we discovered our child was this amazing ice skater, this amazing gymnast, and we moved to where they could get proper training. Well, in this case, they discovered their child was a mathematical genius. And they did that same thing that we're so used to hearing about with athletes' children. Now, she finished high school extraordinarily young. She graduated high school at 14 and promptly, well, when you do high school at a historically Black college, you have the opportunity to attend it. And she graduated high school at age 18. Now, unfortunately, when you're a woman and it's the 1930s, you don't have a lot of career options. And when you're a Black woman, you have even less. So she did the one thing that would let her keep doing math at that time, and she became a school teacher. And for a lot of years, that's what she did. But luckily, integration did start in her lifetime. And when they went to finally desegregate the University of West Virginia, and this is the name that I was referring to earlier, when they finally went to integrate it in 1938, she was one of three students that West Virginia State College, the historically Black schools, put forward as these are the people you should use to integrate your graduate college. And and this arose due to legislation that said, well, if you offer programs for white students, you have to offer them in the state for Black students. So in 1938, she, along with two Black gentlemen that had also gone to the same school she did, they entered the graduate program for mathematics. Now, as often happens to women, she became pregnant and couldn't finish her graduate degree. That just wasn't a thing in the 1930s and 40s. It's still not really a thing in a lot of
Yeah.
places. So she and her husband settled down. They had three children. And she focused on them eventually returning to the workforce, as again so many women do, continuing to be a teacher. But in the 1950s, when she was 35 years old, so graduated university at 18, now at 35, after raising three kids, after working as a school teacher, one of her family members had read about an opportunity at the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics. They
NACA.
were hiring.
Is it
Yeah,
NASA?
NACA.
NACA?
It was NACA.
Yeah.
Back in the beginning, it was NACA. So this was 1952. This is before NASA is a thing. And they were hiring out at the Langley Memorial Aeronautical Laboratory in Hamilton, Virginia. So, Virginia, born and raised, stayed there through her life. They were hiring mathematicians and they were hiring colored people. That was the language of the time. And she applied. And in reading the things that she said about that time, she earned my respect because she took the job knowing full well that she was going to get put in a room that said colored people
Mm-hmm.
on the door, that she was going to be just another female computer, because back then math was something that those women will go do. I have no
Yeah.
clue where the idea that women are bad at math came into the
Right.
zeitgeist.
Yeah.
But She took the job because it let her do math. And she'd long ago settled on wanting research mathematics to be her career. And she wrote over and over that sure, there was racism. Sure, there were discrimination because of gender, which means she was facing both. But she didn't see it because she did the math.
Right, right. But I mean, and this, as you said, right, was a big thing back in the, back in the day. The term computer, we use that now for a piece of silicon and plastic and
Right.
metal that goes beep boop on our desk. But a long time ago, computers were people, mostly
Yes.
women, who
Yes.
just crunched really complicated mathematics that were then used for various practical purposes, like dropping bombs or figuring out rocket trajectories, which are
And
just
if you
another
think
version
about
of
it,
bombs. I guess there's bombs that you drop and bombs that you hurl sideways. Various ways to throw bombs at other people. Women did the math.
it's true. They did other things as well. There was the Harvard College University, or sorry, Harvard College Observatory pool of women computers that did astrophysical calculations. But as she put it, she was a computer who wore skirts. And computer means someone who computes. So the word is just we've lost it over time. A miller is someone who mills.
Yeah.
A computer is someone who
A
computes.
robber, someone who
Is someone
robs.
who robs.
Yeah.
Um, and initially, she was put in this pool of women at NACA um, who were doing analytical geometry tasks and other basic computing tasks. But everything got to change for Catherine when she was given on loan to one of the early aeronautical groups. And she was so good at analytic geometry that they forgot to return her to the pool of women that she'd been working in. And so she got to in some ways escape the here just mindlessly do all of these calculations drudgery and instead got to be part of that group of humans who were figuring out the new space race, who were figuring out, well, what is the launch window for the Gemini missions to get them in an orbit that will get them back home where and when we want? What are well, one of my favorite things that she did was getting to the moon is actually far easier than getting back.
Right.
And she's the one who figured out exactly how to do the reentry so that they would end up near the ship that was going to pick them up. Because our world is big, you need to get the return down right.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. There's a great quote, and I'm probably sort of saying it a little wrong, but the gist being that she worked on Alan Shepard's first flight, made the calculations to figure out
Mm-hmm.
what his trajectory was going to be, and then she was the backup for the actual like silicon computer that was used to calculate. I guess it was vacuum tubes
It
back
was
then. Yeah,
vacuum
the
tubes, yeah.
vacuum tube computer that did the calculations for John Glenn's trajectory. And when John Glenn was asked if he felt okay doing this trip, he specifically said, if Katherine Johnson is okay with the math, then I'm good to go.
Well, it was more than that. He basically said, she needs to do the math.
Right. Yes. Yeah. But if she confirms that the computer is right, then I'm good to fly. But not until she is certain.
And in describing her own role in a lot of this, she was always quick to say that she basically barged into each situation she knew she belonged in when people were trying to keep her out. One of my favorite examples of this is she's the first woman to have her name as an author on a NASA technical report. Up until then, they'd had women who worked on the content in reports, but it was always the lead man who had their name as the author. Well, there is a researcher who she had been working with, Ted Skopinski, and he wanted to transfer from Langley to Houston. And the people above him were like, "We need you to finish this report." And he eventually was like, "Just have Catherine do it. I'm out of here." It was a little fancier than that, but that was what it boiled down to. Is Ted Skopinski said, "Catherine's been doing all the work. Have her finish it." And then she put her name on the report. And so this is essentially how she broke one barrier down. And it was over and over her saying, "I need to be in this room. I did this work. I did this," and asserting herself. And this is where I often think that when she said that she didn't see the gender barriers and she didn't see the racism, that the reality is she simply disregarded a lot of this and fought to be in the room.
Right.
Probably went through a lot of her life thinking that it was her own forthrightness that was getting her into trouble, that it was her own assertiveness that was getting her into trouble. A lot of women feel this.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so instead of seeing where it was a gender bias, instead of seeing where it was a color bias, what she saw was, "I'm assertive. I'm going to tick people off, but I'm doing the right thing."
Right. Well, I mean, and at the end of the day, like, no amount of racism or sexism will overcome the laws of nature, of gravity, right? And so if you've got the person who is absolutely the best at running these calculations the most accurately, the most quickly, with the most creativity, time and time again,
Yeah.
you're going to have to deal, you're going to be confronted by just this reality. If you want the best person for the job, you want the best person for the job. And so you're going to have to accept it, which kind of sucks, because
Yeah.
for the rest of us, we get this sort of assumption that we're already the best for the job just based on the color and how we look,
Mm-hmm.
and so we don't have to necessarily climb those mountains every time we just want to do anything. But
And one of the things that really disturbed me in preparing for this presentation, or this podcast rather, she retired in 1986. So that's a long life, a long career. And you can find online a list of all of her awards. And she won over and over the Langley Research Center Special Achievement Awards: 71, 80, 84, 85, 86. A lot of that was for her work with the space shuttle program. She became one of the people who really understood how the wire and metal computers worked, and was able to transform the computations she knew how to do on paper into the software necessary to do them on the computers that weren't human beings, the non-biological computers. And she got a NASA Group Achievement Award during the Apollo program. And then she retired in 86, and she enjoyed all of her grandchildren. This is a woman who had a rich life. She used to joke about how important it was to work hard and play bridge during lunch. She was a member of the same church for 50 years. She had 11 grandchildren, and she enjoyed all of that living. She retired in 86, and it was only then that people started to acknowledge everything that she had accomplished. Apparently, it took her absence for people to see her worth. In 98, she got an honorary doctorate degree from SUNY. In 99, West Virginia State College, that place where she did her high school and her bachelor's degree, they declared her an outstanding alumni. It was then in 2006 where the awards start to come in at a higher and higher pace as people start trying with urgency to determine, well, who are the forgotten heroes of STEM? And she was literally a hidden figure until people looked to shine a light on the women and people of color who faced so much integrating, well, in her case, mathematics.
In 2017, NASA named one of its supercomputer center after her. So
Yes,
there's the Katherine Johnson Computational Research Facility, which is I think at Langley. Yeah, at NASA's
it is at
Langley Center.
Langley.
Yeah, which is great. Huge building, huge
And
supercomputers inside, and the ones made of metal and silicon.
and the same day that they commemorated the building in her honor, Leland Melvin, who was the then NASA administrator, gave her what's called the Snoopy Achievement Award. This is an award that astronauts get to pick who they want to give it to. And it's given in the workplace among peers to people who have done remarkable things to improve the safety of traveling to space. And if anyone improved the safety, it's the person who made the calculations to make sure they could get there and get home later.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I mean, part of why we are doing this episode this week is she passed away last
Yes.
week at the age of 101,
Yes.
which is pretty amazing.
And the last few years of her life, she proved over and over that while her body was frail, her mind was nimble. She gave some remarkable addresses. She received the Presidential Medal of Honor from Obama. She received the Congressional Medal of Honor. And she continued showing up and speaking, well, as an advocate for STEM, as an advocate for following your passion, as an advocate for, well, you can be a teacher, you can be a mom, and then you can get people back safely when their spacecraft goes boink, because she's the one who figured out the trajectories to get Apollo 13 back.
Yeah.
We need these role models. How many times do you and I get asked, can I get involved with NASA? I'm late in my life.
Yeah.
She did it.
Yeah. And I mean, just in anything, right? Which is like there is still across the planet, there's still plenty of racism and sexism
Yeah.
and all kinds of reasons, nationalism, like all these reasons why people are disadvantaged to be able to achieve the same kinds of things in life. And yet, clearly, if
Mm-hmm.
you are willing to put in the work and you're willing to never accept no for an answer, you can achieve great things and help culture catch up with what is right. And we all are always attracted to these situations. And it's can you promise that you'll watch the movie because it's great?
I will. I will.
Yeah.
And and the one thing I just want to put in people's minds is you don't accomplish something by being nice all the time. And she over and over had to be a polarizing figure who ticked people off by sticking her nose in the room and saying, I belong here.
Hmm.
And there are a whole lot of women out there who are told, and I'm one of them, well, you're polarizing. Maybe we shouldn't let you do this because there are people who don't like you because
Hmm.
you rub them the wrong way. Well, if you're always nice, you can't open the door. But once that door is open, hopefully other people won't have to fight so hard. Hopefully, well, it won't take retirement for the next stunningly brilliant Black woman to be seen for what she's worth. Hopefully, they'll recognize it while she's there
Yeah.
making her breakthroughs.
Yeah, and I think that's the hope, right? Is that what were impediments that need to be overcome, which do make you stronger, start turning into
No,
on ramps.
they don't make you stronger.
Impa-
They show you how strong you are and scar you deeply.
I think that a certain amount of challenge, the ideal amount of challenge, there's an ideal amount of challenge that helps us grow and get better at what we do. And, there are certain situations where sometimes we wouldn't get where we would be without the challenge.
It's true.
But at the same time, you want it to be healthy, supportive challenges,
Yeah.
right? I on their birthday, on my son's birthday, we went out and got him his driver's license because I wanted him to begin driving. And he was initially resistant because it was going to be hard and it was going to be scary, but we did it and we got it and he did it. And now he loves it, right? And so you want to be able to be encouraging, but also challenging. And so I think, the more of this situation where you can have these positive, supportive, but challenges out there, the better we'll all be as a society, as opposed to us seeing sort of the survivorship bias of the people who were unwilling to give up no matter how awful life was to them to be
Yeah.
able to accomplish great things. And Katherine Johnson is on the far side of that spectrum of being unwilling to quit no matter what was put in her way. And we who are fans of space are, and just all of the space flight that happened beyond that point is a tribute to what she was able to accomplish.
Yeah, it's my fervent hope that the challenges that force people forward are the ones of needing to innovate new technology, of needing to work in extreme environments, and not the hostile workplace.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Right.
But she did amazing things, and she made it possible for so many others to see themselves as the kind of person who does amazing things.
Yeah.
So we are grateful.
Thanks, Katherine. Thank you for everything you did. And we're, but I mean, I would say we're sorry to see you go, but 101, we should all be
Yeah,
so lucky to live
exactly.
101, surrounded by friends and family, and the endless games of bridge and mathematics. Pamela, do you have some names for us this week?
I do. This will take me a moment. I'm sorry. You're going to have to edit the pause out. I tried to load this earlier and it hung my internet. Um, my internet is being weird. We will have this in a moment, people. Okay. So this month, we would like to thank the following people for everything they do to keep this show going through their patronage at patreon.com/astronomycast. I would like very much to thank Jordan Young, Burry Gowan, Frodi Tenenbaugh, Ramji Anamanthu, Andrew Palestra, David Troig, Brian Cagle, The Giant Nothing, Laura Kettleson, Robert Palesma, Corey Duvall, Paul Garman, Les Howard, Joss Cunningham, Emily Patterson, A Blip in the Universe, and The Infinitesimal Ripple in Space Time.
We'll see you next week. All right.
And this is where we save.
John Seffel wants to see the Enterprise orbiting your planet, Pamela.
I could do that. It would
New
take
art.
Yeah, so for those the artwork behind me is my own artwork. You can get it, I believe it's on Studio 6. It's either Studio 6 or Studio 9. Dyslexia sucks. It's Studio 9. And that wasn't me making fun of dyslexia. I actually legit have it. And these are the things that really make my life difficult. So studio9.com/starstrider, I believe is the link, but I'm having trouble getting the site opening. Um, but yeah, I do art. You can buy the original paintings on 739studios.com and digitized versions of some of the stuff. Studio 9 is down. Um, and digitized versions of some of the stuff up on.
Yeah,
It's
but
not.
people are noting it's not that big in real life.
No, it's not.
Yeah, they're small.
Yeah, this is based on a painting that was that big.
Susie's asking what next week's topic is. Do we know?
No.
Okay.
Um,
We'll figure it out.
yeah,
I
I
got
have
lots
no
of
idea.
ideas.
I am out of ideas.
I got a million ideas, although many of them are just all in my list of ideas that are going to be for videos that I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Like the evidence, like water worlds,
Uh-huh.
exoplanet climates would be kind of neat. Did you see the simulations that NASA did of Proxima Centauri's climate? You know, that was really cool wind
Hmm.
maps. They did a
Yeah.
version of that, but for Proxima Centauri.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm game to do exoplanet
Yeah.
um
Mini moons.
atmospheres.
Someone's suggesting mini moons. We could talk about Earth's temporary moons, Carina, and it's yeah, new. Of course, it's not mini moon. It's moonlets, secondary moons. White dwarf mergers. We could talk about.
Oh, white dwarf mergers is actually super timely.
Yep. We could talk about
The
the
way it turns out supernova type 1A come in many
the
forms.
challenges to dark energy.
Yeah,
That would be fun.
I'm down with that.
Okay,
I'm
so
down with
let's do
that.
white hole. Let's do white hole merge. No, we'll do white dwarf mergers.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Susie, did you get that? We're gonna do white dwarf mergers for next week,
Okay.
and it just gets me to just be excited about Gaia once again, as always. So, did you see that Discover is back online? NASA's Discover
Yes.
Space
How did they
Telescope.
do that?
I don't know how they did the recovery, although we have a story on Universe Today all about it. So I guess I should read that. But this is the telescope. It's funny when flat earthers always say like, how come there's no telescope that shows the Earth as just like a great big ball that you can just look at? There is one. It's
There
called Discover.
is.
Just use that. Look at that. And then get back to me when you have decided that you think that's
And
fake.
it does gorgeous things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shows the whole planet. And Scott Manley did some animations where he took time lapse images. He just pulled all the data from Discover and then stitched them together into various animations. You could see swirling clouds and storms and hurricanes and things like that.
That is. Yeah. And I've been Kevin Gill, his stuff
Yeah.
lately. He was rendering the other day what Mars using 3D models would look like with different amounts of
Of water, like lakes and
yeah,
street. Yeah, just incredible work. Yeah. Well, Kevin is great. He was a programmer,
yeah,
and he, but as his hobby on the side, would just do all kinds of really cool image work with NASA's, on their Flickr channel, doing work with NASA data, and he was able to turn that into a job at NASA. And he
yeah.
actually works for NASA for one of the missions, helping provide some of their scientific data, and also still does all of these really cool simulations. The terraforming image that Elon Musk loves so much is a Kevin Gill picture. So
It's
yeah,
he's he and Doug Ellison and
yeah,
Ted Strike,
yeah.
they have all
Sean
systematically
Duran,
shown.
uh,
Yeah.
Jason. Oh my God. Who else is doing work? Oh, and yeah, and so in Jason Major, I don't know if you saw
Oh,
Jason.
yeah.
Jason had a heart attack last week.
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
geez. He's like our age.
younger, I think.
That, oh, good Lord.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and he's back and recovered and producing new images. So he's on the
Okay.
mend, which is which
Okay.
is which is good. But man, it was kind of scary for a second there.
Yeah.
It just reminds you, just yeah, he had
Yeah.
a couple of stents put in. So we got like just a couple of minutes. Does anyone have any questions?
Um, Looking through Twitch.
People say the water
Uh,
world definitely exists. Okay, so this is a question that you will hate, that I will love. Hudson Hawk asks, apart from WFIRST and JWST, what is your favorite space telescope that's going to launch in the future?
they are all dead to me until they have launched.
Oh, brutal. Um,
Honest.
that's why it's mine. Yeah. So obviously LUVOIR. Come on, LUVOIR. The Large Ultraviolet Optical Infrared Observatory, hopefully launching in 2035, will be a 15 to 18 meter replacement for the Hubble Space Telescope. So it'll be much bigger than James Webb, but being able
Hmm.
to handle just all the all the wavelengths. So that's the one that I want.
And for those who are trying to find the artwork, I finally found my own site. It's Society Six, not Studio Six,
Oh,
society6.com/Starstrider.
there you go. Um, and if I was to like choose another one, um, there's the Ariel mission coming.
I don't know that one.
ARIEL. It's gonna be coming in like 20, like it's sooner, like 2028 ish, and it is going to be a spacecraft that is going to characterize exoplanet atmospheres. So, it's going to be specifically looking for biosignatures in alien atmospheres, which is super cool. So, and it's, you know, very far along its process. So I think, we will see that before we ever see LUVOIR.
And it's okay to celebrate ground-based things. So the Large Synoptic
Yeah.
Survey Telescope via Rubin Observatory, I'm super looking forward to all of the science it allows us to do, taking the statistical, oh my God, so much data of Gaia and multiplying it by a lot, giving us the entire sky from the southern hemisphere. So I'm looking forward to LSST, and you can watch that sucker get built, and it can't fail. It can just be delayed
Um,
unless the mountain becomes a volcano, but it won't.
right. Yeah. 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 I will concur that, I mean, if I had to like just pick the one thing that I'm most excited about, it would be the Vera Rubin Observatory by
Yeah.
far. Yeah. Um, All right, so we've got one question for you here. Killer Popcorn on Twitch asks, what is the oldest solid material that's been found in space?
So they keep finding new asteroid bits that appear to be older than the other ones. And so it's going to be asteroid bits are the oldest
Yeah.
things in our solar system.
Bits, tiny portions of a meteorite from space that predates the solar system itself.
Yes, it's kind of awesome.
Yeah. And not whole chunks, just little chunks that have been blended in with parts from the original solar system. It's such a
Yeah.
cool idea that we can see this. Yeah, fantastic. All right, well, we've reached the end of our hour, so we should probably wrap things up. Pamela, what are you working on?
I am, well, working on more art like this when I have time. But beyond that, we are continuing our war on software, working to bring CosmoQuest into a new age. This weekend, I'm going to plant a garden, but when I'm not doing that, I'm probably going to be streaming, working on CosmoQuest and a variety of other software projects for the Planetary Science Institute.
And I am right now. I'm halfway through writing my newsletter this week. It's going to be the biggest newsletter I've ever done, no question. So if you haven't already and you want to get the biggest newsletter I've ever done, go to universetoday.com/newsletter and you will get it in a couple of hours when I wrap it up. Otherwise, it will be lost to you forever. So. And yeah, that's really gonna be my day. So. All right. Well, we should wrap things up. So thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone both on Twitch and on YouTube. Everyone for making all of this various technology come together on both sides of this. Thanks to the moderators. And of course, thanks to you, Pamela, for bringing the brain
Oh,
this week. Let me know when you've watched Hidden Figures.
I will.
All right. We'll see you all
All
next
right.
week.
Bye bye. And wash your hands.
Yes.